On today's episode of Time About the Movies, we wrap up 2012 as we look at the final 4 films released in 2012, Christmas Day, for most of these films in particular. We have Quentin Tarantino's latest film, Django Unchained, which I wasn't a fan of when I first saw it, but I've seen it again since then. Have my thoughts changed on it? Well, we're going to find out in just a little bit here. We have the follow-up to Tom Hooper after his Best Picture winner, which I still don't think was a good movie to win Best Picture, The King's Speech. He gives us Les Miserables, the classic Broadway musical. Second time we've looked at an adaptation of that on the show. But we also have Bette Midler and Billy Crystal starring in the family comedy Parental Guidance, which might surprise you how I feel about this one. It's actually not as bad as you think it is. And we also have John Krasinski and Matt Damon starring in Gus Van Sant's latest film, Promised Land. 4 films to take a look at for December 28, 2012, Christmas week. This is Time About the Movies.
What's your name?
Django. The D's son.
And welcome to Time About the Movies. Today we are taking a look at the 4 films that make up December 28th, 2012, Christmas week. And of course we're starting off with Quentin Tarantino's latest film, Django Unchained. This is set, of course, in the antebellum South and Old West, and it's a highly stylized revisionist tribute to spaghetti westerns, and its title refers particularly to the 1966 Italian film Django, which starred Franco Nero, who actually has a cameo in this movie. In the film, you follow an enslaved man played by Jamie Foxx who's trained under a German bounty hunter played by Christoph Waltz with the ultimate goal of reuniting with his wife played by Kerry Washington. You also have a cast that includes Leonardo DiCaprio, Samuel L. Jackson, Walton Goggins, James Remire, Michael Parks, and Don Johnson in this film. And I'll be honest, I did not see this movie when it first came out because I just really had no interest in it, man. I like Quentin Tarantino's work a lot, but something about this one felt like it was so agitatively obnoxious to it. Like it's Quentin Tarantino doing this out of the way that he's been making his other movies in general. Look, I have nothing against any of the actors involved in this film, nor do I have anything against Quentin Tarantino as a filmmaker, but when Tarantino doesn't realize is that just because you're writing a movie about a blaxploitation western, that does not give you the right to use the N-word as much as you want to here. I mean, I understand that they may have been how people talk back in those days, but there was no reason for that many iterations of the N-word in this movie. I mean, Jackie Brown didn't overuse that word. Neither did Pulp Fiction. Neither did something like Kill Bill. And, I mean, those are my favorite Tarantino movies. I mean, would it make Kill Bill more entertaining if the "See You Next Tuesday" word was used a lot? No, it would be the exact same thing. Like, even the Boondocks doesn't use the N-word as much as you would expect it to. But then again, that's on television. But I mean, that's a regular word used on that show, but they don't use it as much as this movie does. And that's really my big problem with the film in general. The overuse of the racist language. It does not feel like he's doing it for the reasoning that, hey, everyone talked like that back then, so it's got to be in my script. No, I feel like he feels like he has the black card, so that means he can say whatever he can use that word if he wants to. But that's not how that works, pal. I mean, I'm just telling you right now, if they had toned down the racist language, the movie probably would have been great overall. I think the performances overall are really good. I like Jamie Foxx in this. I thought Christoph Waltz was pretty good in here. He won his second Oscar for a Tarantino film with this. Leonardo DiCaprio, this is probably his best overall performance I'd seen up to that point, playing the villain in this. What was his name? Candy something. It's Monsieur Calvin J. Candle. Why did I think it was Candy? But then again, he is the owner of the Candyland Pavilion, so maybe that's where I got it from. But either way, Leonardo DiCaprio is pretty awesome in this movie. I mean, just the way he talks in this, this is one of those great movies where he should have gotten an Oscar for this. I mean, this is the movie that he probably should have won it for, but it also doesn't help that the movie is way too long. It's 3 hours long. It's hard to stay with it if there's no real action going on. But more importantly, there's nothing really about this movie that feels like it's authentic and trying to be like what Tarantino did back in the day. It's obnoxious at times with its lame brain attempts at comedy at times. I mean, there's really lousy bits of comedy in this movie where you have people like, Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill showing up in this movie for no particular reason. It just makes no sense to me, and I don't know. I'm one of those few people that really didn't like this film, unlike a lot of other people who really enjoyed it, but I've tried to find something of value to it after all these years. I still couldn't find it, man. It's way too long. The action's not really all that great. The performances are good, but they're overshadowed by way too many racial slurs that should have been trucking down big time. I felt like this was a major missed opportunity. And I'm going to be one of those people that says that, and will probably be seen by many as wrong, but hey. That's the power of free speech, man. You can say what you want to and give a different opinion than you're used to hearing, and yeah. I did not like Django Unchained all that much. I thought it was a major step down for Tarantino, but the good news is his next movie, The Hateful Eight, will get him back on track. I actually really do like that one a lot, but we're still a couple of holiday seasons away from that one, so anyway, that's Django Unchained. Not a fan of that one, unfortunately. Nor am I really a fan of our next movie, but I can at least watch that one for some of the more stupider stuff in it. But let's talk about that film, Les Miserables.
Rated PG-13.
So yeah, when you watch that, you can kind of see the pros and cons of the movie that we'll get into just a little bit here. But this is, of course, the second film. This is another adaptation of the classic book by the same name. We already covered another version from 1998, which starred Liam Neeson, Jeffrey Rush, and Uma Thurman. But this one is more of a straightforward musical adaptation of the story. Directed by Tom Hooper, who, of course, gave us The King's Speech, which, sorry, still not a fan of it. And this one, I'm not really a fan of it, except for a couple of the notable things I'll get to here, but set in France during the early 19th century, the film tells the story of Jean Valjean, played by Hugh Jackman, who, while being hunted for decades by the ruthless policeman Javert, played by Russell Crowe, after breaking parole, agrees to take care of a factory worker's daughter. The story reaches resolution against the backdrop of the June Rebellion of 1832. This is also a movie that features a cast that includes Anne Hathaway, who won her Oscar for Best Actress in this. Best Supporting Actress, I should say, excuse me. Amanda Seyfried, Eddie Redmayne, Helena Bonham Carter, Sacha Baron Cohen. A good cast overall in here. The visuals overall are pretty impressive overall. And I said the film is bad. It's not really. I mean, the performances I think that really stick out the most are Jackman, Hathaway, Amanda Seyfried, Eddie Redmayne. Those are performances that work. The musical numbers overall are pretty good. I mean, the film overall isn't bad, but let's just be honest here. The real reason why I think this movie has any memorability is Russell Crowe, and not for the reasons you think. And if you've seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
And I'm Javert. Do not forget my name.
Oh, believe me, Javert, we will never forget your name, especially after this performance. I mean, yeah, Russell Crowe in this movie is absolutely awful. I mean, his performance, specifically when the guy sings, I mean, it's bad, but it's that so bad it's good type of hilariousness. I mean, you can't help but laugh when the film begins, and he's literally going like, "Now, prisoner 24601, your time is up and your parole's begun," like that. Like, he's over the top with it. Like, everybody else is really trying. Hugh Jackman really is trying in this movie, and he makes it work. Anne Hathaway's trying, but Russell Crowe, man, like that voice, that over-the-top voice he's given, you know, the part where he kills himself and he goes like, "Damned if I yield at the turn of the tide, I am the law," like that type of stuff. It's just like nobody looked at this and said, "Russell, buddy, can we ask you to at least try and do a better take of this than this?" And Russell Crowe's probably just like, I'll throw my bloody phone at you, my telephone at you, because, you know, of course that's what Russell Crowe was known for back then. But I mean, honestly, I mean, this is a performance that is bad, but it also kind of helps with the film overall, because it is kind of fun to watch this over-the-top performance over these other really solid performances overall. I mean, I'll give it this. I badmouth this director for his last movie, The King's Speech. Rightfully so, because I think it's a terrible movie. But this one, I at least give him credit for at least attempting to make a pretty solid musical adaptation of this. And for the most part, it works. On its own levels, it's a good movie. Is it a great movie? No. But it is a fun film, not just because of the stuff that's great about it, but also the really hilarious over-the-top stuff, like Russell Crowe singing his over-the-top ass off. I mean, there's the fun factor in this. I'm not going to say it's a great movie, but I'll give it this. It's better than his last movie. I like it. I think it's fun for what it is. But yeah, it's a very jumbled, mixed bag of a film overall, but I lean towards liking it for the more ridiculous stuff than I do liking it for more of the positive stuff here. So take that for what you will. But anyway, yeah, that's Les Miserables. So let's go ahead and move on to what's probably going to be the most controversial opinion of this episode, and that's the fact that this next movie, Parental Guidance, I thought was actually kind of fun.
Pick me up here. Don't leave me stranded.
Have I ever left you stranded?
4 times when I was a kid.
It's like she thinks we're idiots. By the way, where is she? Where have you been? I know.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. As I saw that bit with Marissa Tomei being left at the place she was at, and Billy Crystal was like, "Where have you been?" That scene made me laugh. I mean, that's part of the kind of the fun of this particular film, and that's just the fact that it's a film that is surprisingly really funny. Is it a great movie? No, but there's stuff about it that I actually did kind of like. So yeah, you have a story where Billy Crystal and Bette Midler are playing grandparents who agree to visit Atlanta to look after their 3 grandkids with their Type A helicopter parents, played by Marissa Tomei and Tom Everett Scott, who need to leave town for work. Problems arise when the kids' 21st century behaviors collide with Artie and Diane's old school methods. So it's basically a movie about old school parenting versus new school parenting, and there were a lot of negative reviews coming out of it. You know, everyone was expecting this to be this type of family comedy that looks really cheap and only has jokes relying strictly on toilet humor. And most people thought this was going to be one of the worst movies of the year. In fact, some people did think that, but I didn't think that at all. I actually thought this was actually kind of a decent film. I say decent because, let me put it this way. This director also did The Game Plan and Race to Witch Mountain, which are actually fun films overall for kids. And this is on that same wavelength overall. It's not a great movie by any stretch of the imagination, but with so many bad family films coming out around the time that have come out in the last couple of years, this one actually was funny for a good chunk of the film. I mean, I was really brought into the plot of it because I really hate this new age hippie parenting that still exists to this very day that their parents do to their kids. I've worked at a grocery store now for 20 years, and, you know, I see kids all the time. I see these parents coming there who don't do anything to shut their kids up when they won't stop screaming, whining, and crying. It's just like, you know, I mean, it's something that you've been there for so long, and you think you get used to it after a certain point, but after all these years, it's still kind of enough. It's not to say that new age parents out there are not bad parents overall, but there are parents out there that I see in the store that literally do absolutely nothing to keep their kids quiet and let them just scream at the top of their lungs like they're at Chuck E. Cheese or something. And I can't stand those people. I can't stand those type of parents whatsoever. So I was glad back then when we were going to get a film that was going to deal with these type of parents and their kids. And you got a really solid cast here. Billy Crystal, Bette Midler, and Marissa Tomei work very well with the material given to them, and they are pretty believable when it comes to the emotional scenes. I'll say this, though. Billy Crystal, I don't think he really looks like he's that old to be the father of Marissa Tomei's character. I mean, they're literally 17 years of age apart. Like, unless Bette Midler had her at 17 years is when Billy Crystal was 17. That seems really, really off overall, but despite that, it does work for what they're trying to go for here. Like Tom Everett Scott and Geddy Watanabe, who play like a waiter at a Chinese restaurant, they were the two that really were hamming it up way too hard. Like, they were the two that really felt like, you know, they saw the script, they saw it was a generic kids film, and they said, we're not going to bother, we aren't even going to bother to try to do something of value in this. At least the 3 seasoned actors in Crystal, Midler, and Tomei were doing what they needed to do to make this worth watching. It runs at a good enough pace, and the best thing about this movie is that there is a notable lack of poop jokes. There's only one, not over the top whatsoever. Yeah, you get pee jokes, vomit jokes, crotch jokes that are typical standby jokes that falter miserably, but it's not as bad as most people made it out to be. Like, if there's anything about the bad stuff in this, there's some comedy in here that is just kind of lame and poorly done. I mean, there's nothing offensively bad about it, but it's just sitcomishly bad. Like, it's a bad CBS type of comedy. Like, there's a whole thing about, you know, watching a scary movie. It's the Saw movies, and it's just kind of like, like, that's something that you would see on like a bad CBS comedy series. But, like, you know, I shouldn't expect much from a movie like this, but I'm hoping to be surprised by it. But like I said, the comedy in here isn't great overall, but it does have its heart in the right place. It's a bigger surprise than I thought it was going to be, and it's a harmless comedy. I think the performances overall carry it over, and let me just say it, it's a better comedy than some of these really, really bad films we've been getting up to this point. Fun Size, Old Dogs, I mean, those are really terrible movies, but this is one that actually felt like it was trying, and while it didn't succeed all the way through, I had a good time with it. I actually do think it's a lot better than people let on. Not a classic by any means necessary, but if it's on TV one day and there's nothing else on Saturday afternoon or something like that, you can pop it on and have a good time with it. It's actually not that bad of a film at all. I actually kind of enjoyed this one a lot. So, I recommend parental guidance. If you go into it with the toy boat. If you go into it with the right mindset, there we go, you might have a good time with it. So, that's parental guidance. So let's go ahead and move on to our last movie that we have here, Gus Van Sant's latest film, Promised Land.
People. Promised Land, rated R. In select theaters December 28th, everywhere January 4th.
A movie that has its heart in the right place, but not really a great film overall. This is one of those films that I was kind of let down by. Promised Land follows two petroleum landmen who visit a rural Pennsylvania town and attempt to buy drilling rights from the local residents. Matt Damon is one of the guys who's doing it, and the other one is Francis McDormand, and their kind of enemy in the beginning of this is John Krasinski. Rosemary DeWitt and Hal Holbrook are also in here. Krasinski and Damon actually wrote the script for this, which I thought was kind of interesting. Because, well, it makes sense, because Matt Damon won an Oscar for Good Will Hunting, and of course, we've seen what John Krasinski can do as both a writer and a director nowadays, so it makes sense that they would have a hand in writing this. But Gus Van Sant coming up, I think this is actually his first film he did after the success of Milk, if I'm not mistaken here. He did a couple of other movies, Restless, which I don't remember all that much, nor do I remember My Own Private River, so... But, yeah, actually kind of after that, he hasn't really done a whole lot since then. The Sea of Trees, which I've never heard of. Don't Worry, We Won't Get Far on Foot, which I haven't seen, or Dead Man's Wire. So, yeah, this is kind of the last major film that I remember him being involved in. And, sadly, I don't think it's a great movie overall. It has its heart in the right place. There is a good idea to it. And I think the casting overall is pretty good, but... it's one of those movies where it's literally, it's literally the type of movie that is sticking it right in your face about the dangers of fracking and all that type of stuff. And again, its heart is in the right place because fracking is something that can be seen as something that's damaging to a town. But you have to make it more interesting than what this movie is trying to accomplish. You need to have something kind of like a Silkwood type of vibe to it, where you talk about a serious issue and not just hammer in the point that, hey, this is serious stuff here that you need to be dealing with. And like that movie did it well on that subject here, but this literally feels like one of those videos that you would see in high school. Like when this would be the type of movie you see in high school when you'd have that day off, where they say we're going to show you a movie here and you're going to have to take notes and all that type of stuff. That's what this movie feels like here. It feels like a lesson more than a movie that's trying to get you invested in this topic of discussion, which is still is a topic of discussion even to this very day. But unfortunately, the movie just can't get past that. Can't make the script enjoyable enough that doesn't feel like it's teaching you a lesson and actually giving you an entertaining movie overall. And sadly, it's just not there. Despite the best efforts from the cast involved in here, it just doesn't work. And yeah, I was really let down by it. I was expecting so much more because these people that are involved in here can give us so much more than this. And it really did feel like we're not getting the best work from them, unfortunately. So yeah, there you go. That's my thoughts on Promised Land. Not as promising as the title indicates. And thus, with all that said, we are wrapping up another episode of Time About the Movies, and we have officially wrapped up 2012, which means we have 9 more years of movies to take a look at here. Technically only 8, but I started this show back in February 2022, so that's kind of where we're going up to at that point. So, when we meet in a couple of days, we will go ahead and continue on with our look at the films going forward, with 2013's first crop of films, including some leftovers, but before we get to that, of course, tomorrow, I mentioned this yesterday, but we are going to do something very special for tomorrow. This has been something I've been wanting to do for a while now, and if you don't know what I'm going to be doing, let me give you kind of a clue of what this next episode is going to be about. Does this guy look familiar to you? Anyone? Anyone out there? Anyone that grew up in the 1980s and, grew up with the Disney movies and Don Bluth films? Anybody? Steven Spielberg produced this one. George Lucas did too. Are you getting a hit now? We're gonna be finally covering all the Land Before Time movies. That's right, all 14 films. We're gonna be taking a look at all of them. I've been wanting to do this for a while now, and I've just been trying to get these other videos out there. But I figured we have a little bit of a break here, so that's what we're going to be doing tomorrow on the show. We're going to have that special episode for you. That's going to be tomorrow, and I hope you'll be there for that. I know Littlefoot will be there too, but we'll take a look at that tomorrow. A special episode of the show looking at the Land Before Time sequels and the movie and the original movie itself. But with all that said, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead and do me the honors of hitting that like button, that subscribe button, that notification button. Also, don't forget to check out our playlist here, right where Littlefoot is sitting right now. And also check out the previous episode we did. With all that said, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care.